Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra. Let's talk about your head spreads. So I've got all my supplies here because not only do I want to talk to you about your head spreads, I also want to work on mine a little bit in my journal, depending on how long this video gets to be. So first things first, a year head spread, if you don't know, is a pretty popular, at least I believe so, type of spread that people do at different points throughout the year. And the idea being that you pull 12 for a year head spread specifically, you pull 12 cards, one for each month of the year, and then you use that and you interpret what your year ahead is going to be like. Now, I do year ahead spreads and have done them for years. I do them not only for myself, but I offer them professionally in a very specific way, which I'm going to talk to you about today. So if you've heard me throughout time on my channel mention my year ahead spread, then this is the video for you, because I've decided finally, I've gone back and forth on this a lot, but I've decided finally to talk more about what it is exactly I do with my year ahead spread. So a year ahead spread can be pulled any time of year, though there are certain times of year that are more popular to pull them. Like the end of the calendar year for the next calendar year, so right now, or Yule, which is very much lines up with the end of the year anyways, at least here it does. Yeah, it ends up there too. Sorry, I got all confused thinking about the hemispheres and the seasons. Anywho, Samhain, which is the witches' New Year's, also another one. People's birthdays is also another popular one. Those seem to be the three most popular times in which people pull a year ahead spread. I pulled my first year ahead spread at the end of 2019 for 2020, and I've been working with it religiously every single year since then. I pulled one for 2020. I pulled one halfway through or a quarter through 2020 for my birthday. And then I quickly decided I didn't like pulling it for my birthday. For my brain, it makes the most sense to go along with the calendar year. And I've pulled one for every single year. And I work with this a lot, not just for myself, but for my clients. You can check out my website linked in the description box below. The thing with the year ahead spread, though, is that I found there was some ways in which it wasn't working for me. And so I set about, you get a sneak peek of my 2023 journal here. Stay tuned if you want to see the full flip through. I set about to change it and to figure out the issues I had with it. So the issues I had were things like, so that's one of my cards. I'm going to go ahead while I chat with you and pull out my cards. For my year ahead spread for myself and my clients, I use my Heavenly Bodies astrology deck and the Star Seeker Tarot. More about that in a couple minutes, roughly. Three of Swords, the Womb, the Chariot, Queen of Wands, Two of Swords, Empress. So what I found was I sat there and I interpreted the whole year ahead spread all at once. And first of all, it takes a long time. It took me about 2 hours, if not more. And so it was a lot. It was a lot to do. It was a whole process. And then a thing started to happen in that after even just a few months, it started to feel like the interpretations I had pulled weren't relevant anymore. And that was where I really started to get kind of bored and kind of frustrated. Not Three of Wands, Two of Wands. So I started to get bored and frustrated with it. Six of Wands is one of mine as well. So somehow, I think it was from watching a Samantha Menzo video, I got the idea to work with my cards on a more month-by-month basis. And this was the first cornerstone, do I have all 12 here? That started creating my Your Ahead Spread package, which I do and offer. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm missing one card. I think I'm missing the Three of Swords still. Okay. I can go a lot faster now that I know what I'm missing. There it is. So Samantha Menzo used to do videos here on YouTube. I'll link her channel. And these videos specifically was where at the beginning of each month, she would talk about her card from the previous month and how it showed up in her life kind of spiritually. And this is when I got the idea that, oh my God, I don't have to interpret my cards all at once. I wrote this on a weird way on my page. So the Emperor is December. I was like, oh my God, I can do it. Put that there. There we go. That'll be easier. I was like, oh my God, I can do that. So I started doing Your Head Spreads where I would look at it each month. To help. And that really did help because, and I wouldn't interpret it until I got to that month, which really made a huge difference because of the fact that I found I was working with all my personal work that I do and all the examining of myself and my life and all of these things that happen regularly in my life. I found that by the time I got to the new month, I had already kind of evolved past the message it had initially. And so I was just kind of like, so there's no message. So there's no message. So I set about with the intention to interpret once a month. And if you've been here for a while, then this is something I've talked about on my channel. Every month now, I look at my Your Head Spread card. I pull some more cards per my Your Head Spread method, and I interpret that. And that's what I do. So I stopped doing it all in like kind of one shot. And I built my Your Head Spread to be phases where it kind of, it's a flowing, growing on and on thing. The last part that came into play was my Heavenly Bodies astrology deck and my Starseeker Tarot. I had started studying astrology, and so I started threading astrology into my readings just naturally. And I wanted to thread it more. So then I got the idea of, I was talking to Lisa because like it came up with my Say Yes to the deck. She knew what I was developing at the time because I was practicing my Your Head Spread last year. This was the first year that I offered it publicly. And last year I started offering public readings. So this year, 2022, has been the first year where I offered my Your Head Spread to the public. And last year I was working with friends and clients the whole year with the Your Head Spread, but as like testing kind of things. So it kind of hit me all at once that I could use the astrology And I could use the astrology to build the container for the readings each time, to kind of like build a spread each time. And then I could use the tarot to explore it. And this method is a method I specialize in, that I use, that the vast majority of the readings and things that I get booked for, I get booked for like learning your chart astrology sessions. And then otherwise, all the rest of the stuff I tend to get booked for work is this kind of reading. So I started using the Heavenly Bodies and the Star Seeker Tarot together. And what I do is this. I set out the cards for all the signs for the Heavenly Bodies, because each month corresponds to a specific season with the sun. And this was part of what I was realizing. So the majority of January is Capricorn season, give or take about 10 days. And that's how it goes through. The year starts as Capricorn season until about January 21st-ish. It's normally about the 21st of each month. Except February, it's around there. The sun moves into the new season. So I use the cards for each sign, and it's like, okay, this is the month. We're looking at Capricorn energy. And then it occurred to me, I could look at my chart, look at the Capricorn part of my chart, see what's going on in the sky weather, and based on that, pull more cards. So what I do now is I lay my year ahead spread, and as you can see, this is what I've actually pulled for myself. This is what my year ahead spread looks like for 2023. I'm very excited and kind of trepidatious. We'll get into that. And then each month, let me put some of these aside and show you what I do. Because the thing is, I think this is such a cool thing to do, and I love providing this service. It's very hard to kind of explain. So come in just actually a few days, I'm going to be interpreting for January. So if you would like to actually see the process, if you'd like to see a video of me doing that process, let me know in the comments down below. But I'll show you roughly what I do. So when it comes time to interpret, for January, because I use this is a very predictive thing for me. This is a reading where I tune in to the universal energy, and I divine what I think might be happening for the upcoming month, and I divine what kind of spiritual witchy work I think might be important for the month. So I've got my chart open now, and I use whole sign house system, and the Capricorn part of my chart is the 7th house. And so based on whatever's in my chart, I might pull out some cards that seem, it's based on what's in my chart, but also based on where the planets currently are in the sky. So for example, I have my North Node in Capricorn. And I don't ever look at, if I'm looking at the North Node in astrology, I always look at the South Node too. So those two are important. And this is my 7th house. So I might build a spread that looks, I do have to try and fit it in the camera, which kind of messes with it, at least visually speaking. So I might build a spread for myself based on looking at my chart that looks something like this. And then I pull cards for each thing. I would do shuffling and stuff. This is just an example. And that's how I create my specialty work. I build a spread customized to the person based on that moment in time and their astrology chart. With the Heavenly Bodies astrology deck, I always tell them what each card, like why I picked each card, what it what it signifies in their astrology, roughly speaking. I don't go into necessarily a super ton of detail. That depends. And then I pull cards based on what I've picked out. I pull that many cards in astrology. So, or with my star seeker. So this is the spread I've created, and this is all the details to interpret that spread. And then this cool thing started to happen rather organically with, at least with my year ahead spread, that it started to become this living, breathing thing. Where like it feeds into itself. So I have a process with myself and my clients where every month when I go to interpret, I pull out all my cards. I pull out, I decide what the spread is going to be look like. So I look at the astrology and I see what is sticking out and I build the spread. And then I decide, I build the spread. Then the client hops on and I explain to them why I've built the spread I've built, what's going on astrologically speaking that is sticking out to me intuitively that I think is going to be significant. And it's not just intuitively, it's also based on, am I doing this in the right order? Yeah. It's also based on my like astrological understanding. Then once we've got that, I pull the cards. And then with the cards pulled, I look back at all the previous pulls from this year ahead spread. So I would look at the picture of the whole year ahead to see, are we getting any repeat cards? I would look at each month to month to see, has there been any repeating energy? I also look at the astrology Decan wheel to see if any of the cards that showed up are significantly connected to their personal astrology. And if it is, that's an extra bit of information that they can choose to do some more research into with astrology, should they like. And then we talk about the whole thing. Here's where I'm at for my year ahead spread for me. I have pulled my full year ahead and I have done my yearly interpretations, because that's always the first step, or session 0, I like to call it. So here's my current journal. It's somewhere in here. Year ahead spread interpretation. So this is my first time actually doing a page like this. I do not go super detailed into every single card. I look at the overarching patterns. So session 0, when I first start a year ahead spread package like this, I pull all the 12 cards and then we look at what are the overarching patterns. For example, I had 4 majors in this year ahead spread. I had 3 repeats. That's incredibly significant. And by 3 repeats, I mean 3 of the cards I've pulled for this year's year ahead spread, I also pulled last year. There's no cups, so that was significant. And then other than the majors, it's a majority of wands and swords, with 3 wands and 4 swords. There's also 4 court cards. So I wrote down just all the things, all the overarching patterns that seemed significant. And then I wrote a little blurb of like what I think overall the feeling I'm getting for the year. Not super specific, overarching. And that's what I've done so far. Like that's the only stuff I finished. The other thing I'm trying to do is let me move this. It's an overwhelming amount of cards and my desk only works. So like I only have so much space. Those 3 I want out. There we go. Okay. So what I've done so far, back in my year ahead spread, I I recorded all my cards. And I decided I really wanted, I'm just going to tuck my cards up here so I can see them. I really wanted to add a layer to this in some way. Specifically, I really wanted to work with my Gentle Tarot. The way I am affected by the Gentle Tarot and the Song of the Grandmother's Oracle, both of which I've talked about before, is so profound that I can't get enough of them. So I didn't want to stop using my Starseeker, but I wanted more. So a beautiful client and friend of mine who is a genius, you know who you are, I love you, thank you. Her and I were talking, and I mentioned that I wanted to do more, and how we were talking about how much we love the Gentle Tarot, and she's like, I love the affirmations in the guidebook. Because in the guidebook here, for every single card, there is a little affirmation. 2 of Cups. I am worthy of nourishment. I am worthy of connection and care. I am worthy of love. And I thought, that's fucking perfect. That's exactly what I was missing. So, what I've done this year is I have a box for each year, each card, each month of the year. I have it done in quarters, so winter, spring, summer, fall. I do kind of wish I'd gone winter, spring, summer, fall, because that's how I tend to lay out the cards when I lay out the whole thing. But, oh well. Filling one page at a time, it's no big deal. So, I left the boxes and I wrote the cards in the bottom of the boxes. And on the top, I wrote the month and what sign it is. January is Capricorn, February is Aquarius, March is Pisces, April is Aries, etc., etc. And then, with this brilliant idea from that client friend, seriously, I love you, I wrote the affirmation from the Gentle Tarot guidebook for each card. Now, what's funny is, you might notice February's card is the extra from the Starseeker Tarot. Well, it just so happens that the Gentle Tarot also has an extra card, and I read the affirmation and it still felt like it really fit because they're both an extra like 22 major card, and it still felt like it connected, so I included that. So the point I'm at now is I really want to look at each quarter of the year. And I want to, down here, write in this empty spaces, write little blurbs about what I think each quarter of the year will be like. So we're going to start here with spring. And if you are really just interested in hearing about my year ahead spread, before you click off, this is a service I offer. I do have enough space that I could take on 3 more clients and do live sessions depending on time coordination, because I do my sessions live. But my email is in the description box and my website is in the description box. So if you are interested, check out my website. All you have to know for sure is that the first month when we pull, there is 2 sessions. So the cost is higher the first month, and then every month it's the same cost. And you can, and I built it with a costly, like you have to rebook every month. So that way, if anything financially happens and you need to miss a month, that's okay. However, I also work very hard to make sure my work is accessible. So if you really feel like this work would benefit you, but finances are tight, reach out and let me know. I'd be happy to find a way to work with you the best we both can. So, so if this is where you're leaving us in the video, there's that information. Anywho. So, the first quarter of the year, I have the 3 of Swords, the Womb, and the Chariot. This is really interesting. So it's mostly major. Okay, so there's a few interesting things here. What I wrote is, what wounds are, and this is for me again, what wounds are you nursing that you have been stuck in? What if you release them? Releasing of old wounds via shadow work and sometime percolating and recovering so you can spring forward into action. And that's funny because this is leading into spring. This is very much looking like a quiet and slow start to the year. So that's that. Go ahead and take these. Put these back with my Starseeker Tarot. Ooh, goodness. I have to be careful not to make a mess. I'll put these back. And then the second quarter is this one. Boop. Boop for unblurriness. The Two of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Six of Wands. So this feels like, now that I've determined kind of the sore spots, the things that are really, that have been really, truly stopping me, the things that have been on various levels, which is why I haven't made the forward motion that I want to make. We move into actively being able to go out and do things, being able to decide with this new information, what do I want to do, going and following some of these ideas and feeling some positive energy coming back from this. So let's see. Okay, so I wrote, having identified the source stopping points, it's time for more action. There is determining the next right actions given the info, moving with some inspired action and some success. I just want to get, I'm an extremely seasonally driven person. So I just want to get a feel for like what the seasonal shifts are going to be like. And I really want to create, I've heard some people talk about it. I can't remember when or what videos, but I really want to create that positive feedback loop where I can see like predictively how I'm doing. My clients love it. I get really, really great feedback from them. For myself is more of a thing. So this is really interesting. Look at this succession of cards. I just want to sit with this one. This is visually, like, this is the most significant quarter for many reasons. One, it starts with one of my main significator cards. And the Empress is also a significant card for me. But two, just look at the picture. This Two of Swords, this is one of my favorite Two of Swords. Because unlike the regular Two of Swords where her arms are crossed, she's open. So it's not like, there's a certain blockage to this Two of Swords when the arms are crossed. And this one, it brings this new layer of like, she's deciding, and yeah, she does not have visual information to process to decide. But her heart space is open, like her chest is open. And so it's more like a heart aligned decision. It feels to me more like not blindly choosing, but more like, or not, it feels more like intuitively choosing. I don't think, or perhaps I just don't want this to be, but I feel like a pitfall in this is, this very much reminds me of either or. And it's kind of like, who are you going to be? Are you going to be the Queen of Wands, or are you going to be the Empress? But because this heart space is open, that also really changes it to me. And I feel like this quarter is a lesson of how I can be both, how I can live in the space where I am all of myself, as opposed to continually putting myself in spaces where I'm different parts of myself. And I'm like, okay, this is what I am. This is what I am. That is what I am. I've talked about before on this channel how I over-identify with singular parts of myself. And that's partly my neurodivergent brain. And there's only like, so that's always going to be a bit of a struggle for me. And that's okay. I feel like, because we're starting with the Queen of Wands and moving to the Empress, I feel like we get this direct line of connection of like, here's your starting point, establish this. And instead of sacrificing the Queen of Wands to try and then be the Empress, we're making choices to move us in the direction of the Empress, in the ways that feel like connectedly living as both. Like, embody yourself and create the life you want, not embody yourself or create the life you want. There's actually, so I wrote a first taste of how you can be all and not either or. As a Queen of Wands, move into the territory and domain of being the Empress and creating your life. Don't leave the Queen of Wands behind. The other thing that's really interesting about this is, so as I said, I have 4 or 3 repeats. How many repeats was it? Let's check. Three repeats. All of the repeats I had were majors. So, like, I feel like there is some major lessons I was learning this year that I've started to learn for sure, but that I'm not, that I was missing key points, or I was like just outside of it, you know? And the Empress is one of them. The Chariot is one, the Empress is one, the Emperor is the other. The only quarter where I don't have a repeat is the second quarter. Each quarter has a repeat and it's a major. And the second quarter is actually also the only time where I don't have a major. So that's quite interesting. That'll hopefully be nice and a bit relaxed in a way. The other thing that's really quite interesting here is the significance of this Queen of Wands to me doesn't stop just on the fact that it's a significator card for me. We have a long-term debate in my house of whether or not I am more Queen of Cups or Queen of Wands, because I identify with them both and I want to be them both. After a lot of talking, I think I am more Queen of Wands. And the interesting thing is, Queen of Cups is water of water. Queen of Wands is water of fire. And you might have noticed with my intro, water and fire are a significant thing. And if you've been here, you've heard me talking about it. They're not just like, they're significant. They're significant in my chart. I'm a fire sign with a water rising, and I very much feel this back and forth pull between being a very watery person and being a very fiery person. And I go back and forth with over-identifying myself as one or the other. The Queen of Wands is both. She is water because she is a queen, and she is fire because she is a wand. So And I had the Queen of Cups, I think even for the same month. Let's see. This is why I love recording tarot, because you can look at all this stuff. Not quite the Queen of Cups. I had the Queen of Cups this August that just passed. And now this July coming up, I have the Queen of Wands. So there's a significant update too. And that's part of what gives me the feeling of like, it's not like I totally missed the message and the lesson of the Empress. It's that this part wasn't quite lining up yet. So I couldn't fully get to the Empress. So that's that one. One more. Page of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, the Emperor. This one's a bit confusing to me. I understand the message of the Knight of Pentacles. I pulled this in my Mars return reading months ago, in August actually. And the Page of Swords is actually significant. This aligns with my Myers-Briggs personality type. And then the Emperor, not only is it the last repeat, the one I had it last year or this year. It's also the card that signifies Aries. And I have an Aries Sun, Midheaven, and Mercury. Let's read I'm trying to get my brain going because this does happen sometimes. It happens way more with me than with clients, but occasionally I get like confused, right? So the Page of Swords from the Gentle Tarot, invigorated by the cool air in my freshly filled lungs, I am energized and eager for new experiences. Knight of Pentacles, I pace myself and nourish growth around and within me. The Emperor, when in doubt, I return to my center. Okay. Okay. The other thing that's factoring into my mind as I look at this is my card of the year for 2023 is the Death card. And my word of the year for 2023 is Sovereign. And this card, the Emperor, is very much a card to represent Aries sovereignty. Because he makes the choices he has to make. He doesn't give a shit what other people think about it. And that sometimes, of course, can be problematic because of control issues and other things, but that's not the point. So just bear in mind that the Death card imagery and things about like the moth and the butterfly and the coming out of the cocoon, these are things that have been playing on my mind for a long time. So I wrote, moving forward into new experiences, perhaps as your new butterfly person. Don't forget to keep your lessons with you and to pace yourself, making those first authentically aligned choices and boundaries. I feel like, and I've already felt like this, but I feel like this year for me is gonna... It's the end of a cycle I've been through with like my Saturn return and my Mars return. I am going to do some sort of something in here for Saturn and Mars. I plan to do some sort of a reading for myself. It's been a long cycle. This Saturn return, everyone's Saturn return is roughly 3 years. That's a long fucking time. And it's a time that is meant to be transformative in a way, or it's meant to be restructuring at least. The fact that mine ends in a Death card year tells me, and then once the Death card year is over, so at the end, the very end of the first quarter is my birthday, March 30th. Then I start a 9th house perfection year of spirit and study. I feel like I've got this last bit, and the Saturn return and Mars return both end in March. There's a lot of significant things. And then I go into a ninth house perfection year of spirit and study, where that's going to be my focus, and Jupiter is going to be my time lord for the year. Very excited about it. And Jupiter will be in Aries while it is my time lord, which I'm also very excited about that, at least for most of it. I'm entering this, I feel like I've got this last chunk of the year where I'm kind of breaking out of this shell, breaking out of this cocoon. And then it's like I'm learning what my new body is, like learning how to move in my new body, learning what it feels like, making sure I've got my feet under me, so that way next year in 2024, I'm really ready to start moving forward. I'm returning to a lot of foundations this year too. That's something I'm doing intentionally. So this all kind of hits. And that's what I wanted to do for today's video with your head spreads. Don't forget to let me know in the comments down below if you want to see me do my January predictions as a video, or if you want to see me do one of my month's predictions. It might not be for January because I do have other videos I want to do. Like I want to do my 2023 journal. I want to do my 2023 journal. I want to do lots of other things, right? So it might not be for January. It might be more for March. And I already have a video that I filmed. But let me know if you want to see more of like, if you want to see a monthly, like do the tarot predictions with me. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, please, to let me know if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification. All of these things really, really, really help support me, and help allow me to continue doing what I love here in YouTube. And it gets my stuff out there. In the description box below, you will find my website. As I've mentioned, I'm a professional tarot reader and astrologer, and I specialize in combining the two, like you've seen today in this video, to create really unique reading experiences. So if any of those are things you're interested in, check out my website. Don't forget, I've got room for a few more clients to do live sessions every month for the Year Ahead spread. If this is interesting to you, let me know. If you have any questions about it, there's also an email, my email address there, so you can let me know about that. And I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to all of my channel members here on YouTube. I do have channel membership. You can check that out through the link in the description, or by the join button. If you see one beside the subscribe button, you can get all the details. But to my channel members, a huge thank you. I really couldn't keep doing this like at all. I would not be able to keep doing this without my channel members. So huge shout out and love to them. But I'm going to let you go here, and I will see you again very, very soon. Lots of love. Bye. Oh my God, we can't end on a blurry note. Sorry about that. Bye, guys.